Hi guys, this is Naren Zaid from the Hammer Bros, and we are bringing you our first battle report here. This is me as the Undead Legions versus Murphy's Law as the Warriors of Chaos. Here are my spells with Nagash. I have 5 from the lore of Undeath, 3 from the lore of Vampires, and 1 from the lore of Death. And he has 5 spells from the lore of Metal. So this is what deployment looked like. We have a Varghulf on the left, zombies on the left with the standard and musician, the 39 Crypt Ghouls, Casket of Souls, Nagash, 23 zombies with standard and a musician, 5 direwolves, 2 spirit hosts, and the Crypt Horrors. On his side we have 2 units of dogs on the left, as you can see here, and then on the right in the center he's got 23 Chaos Warriors, a unit of knights with a Khorne hero, Tzneetch Lord on a disc, Tzneetch BSB, 3 Skull Crushers with Ensorcelled and Musician, 4 Skull Crushers with Ensorcelled and a Musician, and 2 units of dogs. Turn 1 goes to Warriors. I Vanguard up a little bit to frenzy check his units. He passes and moves everything up, just pushing forward, frenzy blocking with his Warhounds against his Skull Crushers there. So what movement looks like on the left and the center. And what he does now in the magic phase is he tries to get off a 6 dice final transmutation on Nagash. He goes off irresistibly, and he rolls a 4. So Nagash is safe for now. However, his miscast is an 11, and he's going to forget 2 spells and lose 2 wizard levels. So he's going to forget Transmutation of Lead and Final Transmutation. This is what the board looks like at the end of Warrior turn. Go on to Undead Legion turn. So I charge with my Direwolves into his Warhounds, hopefully to get them into the Skull Crushers and keep them occupied for a round. I charge with my Varghulf on the far left side there. The dogs flee. However, he doesn't panic the other dogs. He rolls like a 3 for leadership or something. I wheel my line out to the left here with the ghouls and the zombies and Nagash, so I can flank charge these knights, assuming the zombies hold. And I fail charge with my Crypt Horrors also. Next up, we go to the magic phase. I Spirit Leech his 1-up rerollable Khorne hero. However, I roll a 2 and he rolls a 5, so there are no wounds there. And then I throw 5 or 6 dice at Rise Empowered. That gives me Monstrous Infantry. And because I can summon triple the amount of models, I summon 8 Crypt Horrors behind his warriors there. And that's it. Turn 2. So the Knights charge into the 23 zombies. The 4 Skull Crushers flank charge the Spirit Host, and the 5 dogs flank charge the other Spirit Host. He moves his other dogs up to mess with my Varghulf some more, and he turns those Chaos Warriors around to face the Crypt Horrors, since there's really no getting away from them. During the magic phase, he puts Enchanted Blades on his Chaos Warriors, and he miscasts with like 3 dice, and he takes a Strength 6 hit, and it wounds, and it gets through his ward, an armor save. So that was pretty nice. And the Chaos Warriors up top have Enchanted Blades, and that ends his magic phase. This is what the board looks like after combat. Those Skull Crushers had no problem crushing the Spirit Host with their ensorcelled weapons and demonic attacks. So they overran into the flank of those zombies, and between the Skull Crushers and the Chaos Warriors, they were able to decimate the zombies and get their overrun. But this sets me up with a pretty sweet flank charge with my Crypt Ghouls, so I charge with my Crypt Ghouls, I charge with my Crypt Horrors into the flank of the Skull Crushers. The Spirit Host over there on the right is still grinding it out with the dogs, and I charge with my Crypt Horrors. And then I also set up a rear charge here with my zombies. Off screen to the left, I charge again with my Varghulf, he flees, and I catch him. This is during my magic phase. I summon some swarms up there up top to chaff out those Skull Crushers, since I don't want to take a flank charge from those into my Crypt Horrors. And that was all I was able to get off during the magic phase, though. I tried to get off another one that would give me more monstrous infantry, but he was able to dispel that. So, what are you going to do? Close combat. My Spirit Host does a wound to the dogs, and because we tie, I'm able to reform to face. Over here in the Khorne Warrior, Khorne Knight combat, I deal 1 wound. He deals a decent amount. I win by 1. He makes his break check, and we stick. Same goes over here for the Skull Crushers. I don't get any wounds through. He does 2 to me, but through combat res I win. At least both these units are frenzied, I guess. And he sticks that out, though. That was kind of disappointing. Up here, the Crypt Horrors do not perform nearly as well as I had hoped. They've taken a lot of damage. Obviously, you can see that they lost 4. He was just rolling very well, and I mean, Nurgle Chaos Warriors are nothing to mess with, especially with halberds. So, brings us to turn 3. Turn 3, he charges the bats up top, and he charges his BSB into the side of those ghouls. I mean, that was pretty much a foregone conclusion. But so now we go to the magic phase. On the magic phase, he tries to get enchanted blades off on the Warriors of Chaos up top. I mean, the enchanted blades helped him a lot, you know, wounding on 2 or hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s. So I dispel that, and then he throws like 5 dice at the Empowered Searing Doom. I'm not able to dispel it, and he does 4 wounds to Nagash on like 6 hits. It was pretty crazy. So that's a little scary, having Nagash only have 3 wounds. This is the result of the combat with those bat swarms, which, I mean, no one's surprised at that. The Crypt Horror combat still doesn't go as well. I mean, I peeled off a rank on the back, but he's coming at me hard with those halberds, and that's after crumble, so at least I still held him up. And then the ghouls fare even worse, and there's only 3 left. The champion's dead. Not looking good. The Crypt Horrors on the right-hand side here, though, they held up. They held up pretty well, and they were able to slip a wound through. I think I lost by like 2, and I crumbled. And this is probably the scariest part of the game. I get the bright idea to flank charge the BSB. Now, this doesn't look too bad, because, you know, Nagash is going to crumble 2 less. I flank charge with the Spirit Host there into his character that doesn't have an ensorcelled weapon, but his demonic mount can, you know, wound the Spirit Host. So, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. And then I rear charge the Chaos Warriors with the zombies just to hold them up and get a little bit more combat res. So, we go to the magic phase. I try to cast Van Hel's, and he dispels that. So I throw a couple dice at Invocation, and I do get that off, so I heal a wound off Nagash. He tried to dispel it, and he wasn't able to, so I threw like 4 or 5 dice at the Casket. It miscasts, and I target his Tzneetch Lord, and no more Tzneetch Lord. He ended up rolling like a 15 or something like that for his leadership check and rolled 2 2s. So, Tzneetch Lord down. So without the magic support, this is what it looks like before combat. Now this was extra scary, and this was probably my biggest mistake. When I cast Invocation, I wanted to heal a wound off Nagash, and then I realized as soon as I did it that I just gave him more combat res with the ghouls. So my hope was to kill the BSB and make it so that Nagash is no longer part of the combat. And and then that would result in him not crumbling, so that was my hope there. So we go to close combat, and this is what it looks like afterwards. So Nagash attacks the BSB with his 3-up board save, strength 8. I get 2 through, and I roll 4 wounds, so I take him out. The Chaos Warriors go to town on the ghouls, but as you can see, they do a couple wounds. He fails like 2 of his armor saves, and then they reform after winning the combat, and the Spirit Host crumbles away. This is what combat looks like with the Crypt Horrors. They took a beating this round. There was just nothing really they could do about it. Not much you can do against all those Skull Crushers. And then this is what the board looks like. You can see that my last Crypt Horror up top has been killed, and the Chaos Warriors have turned to face the zombies, so you know they're not long for this world either. Turn 4. So, my opponent not wanting to give up more points to Nagash, thinking his knights can't handle him, he reforms and runs past Nagash. He moves his Dire Wolves up in an attempt to redirect, but they're just out, so he's going to set them up to do something like that, in the later turns. He also moves his Crypt Horrors, or I'm sorry, not his Crypt Horrors, his Skull Crushers up at the top towards the Varghulf that's been running around on the left side of the board chasing dogs the entire game. And if you're curious about the 2 counter on Nagash's base, those are his Undead counters for summoning. So, because he doesn't have a magic phase, this is what it looks like after combat. The zombies crumble to well past a man. They just can't stand up to Chaos Warriors. And the Skull Crushers take out the rest of the Crypt Horrors, but not before losing one themselves. So, we go to Undead Legion, turn 4. I charge with Nagash. I may get into the Skull Crushers down here, and I'm pretty confident in that. Strength 8, D3 multiple wounds, should be good. In the magic phase, I get off Curse of Years on the Warriors of Chaos up top, and I also resurrect 25 Graveguard with Great Weapons and Banner of the Barrows. So that should also be pretty good. And this is what combat looks like after. I get something like 5 hits on the Skull Crushers, and they all wound, and I deal something like 10 or 12 wounds. So they're gone, and I turn around to reform and face the Chaos Knights. Turn 5. So he turns around his Chaos Warriors to face the Graveguard head on, since there was no way to escape. So why risk fleeing? You might as well fight him. The Skull Crushers up top position themselves to charge the Varghulf, and the Dire Wolves here position themselves to get in the way of Nagash. So we go, and since he has no magic and no shooting, and there's no close combat, we go to Undead Legion turn. So I charge with Nagash, the dogs flee, they fail their terror check, and because the Chaos Warriors are stupid, because of the Helm of Many Eyes, they can't flee, so I charge them in the rear with Nagash. And the Graveguard charge into the Warriors up top. My magic phase, if I recall, was... Oh no, I'm sorry. I got Curse of Years off. Everything else, he dispelled my my Venhells, and I got Curse of Years off up top here. I killed like 6 Chaos Warriors or something silly, so that was great. And then we go to close combat here. Nagash ends up getting in a challenge with the Corn Hero, since he would be wounding Nagash on 5s, and instead of getting all the overkill from the champion, he figured this would be better. I only get 2 wounds. He armor saves one of them on the 6-up rerollable, and I only do 2 wounds to him. So he has 1 wound left. I win by a couple, but I can't catch him. I'm a couple inches behind him. The Graveguard fare much better, however, and they kill a whole bunch of Chaos Warriors, only taking 5 wounds themselves, and yeah, that's pretty good. And now we go to turn 6. So this is the last slide that we have here. What happens is these Skull Crushers up top charge the Varghulf. They pop him, he explodes. I get the rest of the Warriors of Chaos here with the Graveguard. And the Chaos Knights turn around and reform after they rally. And then Nagash charges them. I end up getting Venhells off, I heal a wound, and I obliterate the champion, or the character, and the rest of the Chaos Knights flee off the board, and that's the end of the game. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. It's really great to start up a channel. I hope that you guys will continue to watch. We're going to do some more battle reports as well as other stuff like debates and just top 5 lists and all that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you around.